Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and today we are going to be reviewing the Transformers animated Sentinel Prime. Now this came out in 2007 at the same time as the original movie, and he definitely feels like an '07 toy. 2007 had generally just nicer quality plastic, and just overall was a very well built toy line. And that definitely reflects on this figure. In terms of looks, he looks very accurate to the TV show. He obviously has some kibble because it's very hard to translate those designs from Derek J. Wyatt into toy form, but I think they did a very good job. The only thing that looks a little out of place is the feet, because they do store the top of the calves, and his bottom leg area is just a little wide. But other than that, he looks very, very nice, very accurate to the TV show. On the back, you do get a bit of kibble because this does not become the front. Obviously, it's a completely different shape, but overall, he looks very nice. The paintwork on him is very nice too. There's not a lot of paint, but what is there is very nice. All of this blue is molded in that color. This black on here is molded in. His hands are gray, but they did a very nice job of getting that black just right. And it's kind of, you almost can't see the line if it wasn't for that little gap there. All of this orange is molded in that orange color. These headlights are all painted. This chest area is all painted. His eyes are very nicely picked out in this very bright all-spark blue. And overall, his paint job is very, very clean, especially for a 2007 toy. He does have weapons, his lance and his skyboom shield, and they are very nicely colored in this bright all-spark blue. There is a bit of shipping on the lance because I got this used, but overall the paint has held up very well. I like this darker blue that they use on him. They put a bit of metallic in there as well so that it sparkles, which I think is very nice. But you can plug these into his hands. And now he is fully ready for battle. Articulation. So he is a bit limited in certain areas, especially in the forearms, but overall his posing is actually pretty decent. So the head can look up and down, it's on a ball joint. He can go all the way around, but his chin gets in the way. He can look up, but that's more for transformation. These can move out of the way to accommodate these shoulder spots. And during transformation back into this, these plug into these spots on the tires here and clip in. But on this side, the tab is broken and it doesn't like to clip in. These struts are strong enough to hold it, but it doesn't like to clip in all the time. But you can move the arms out that far. And my biggest problem is no bicep rotation. He can't do anything in this general area, which I wouldn't mind, but given his weapons and how he moves with them in the show, I would have liked that, because you can cheat it and get it like that, but I would have liked a bicep swivel in there. And no wrist articulation, but that's because they're mounted on these panels for the truck mode. In the waist area, there's not much. You get a little bit of an arch, but that's also more for transformation. Ball joints on here, and they're on a separate piece inside of there, which can accommodate a thigh swivel, which is very nice. And then knees can bend a little over 90 degrees just because of the way this is all sculpted, and nothing at the feet. And his ball joints are a little too weak to hold his weight. He's very top heavy, so you have to kind of position him forward, his body forward a little bit, because if you position him stock straight, then he can fall over pretty easy. But he does have very large feet, a very large surface area for him to stand, which is very nice. And real quick, I want to talk about how expressive this head sculpt is, because normally you get expressions on some head sculpts. You either get an expression or just a blank stare, but this really captures how he looked in the show and captures his personality, and I just think that is sculpted really well. Transformation is very simple, and I was actually kind of surprised with how he shifts all of his mass into a smaller truck mode. So first thing you want to do is push the head down, and you're going to bring these plow sections up and compress them in on the struts, and they will peg together up top. Then you want to unclip these arm assemblies and bring them down, and then hinge them in, and then bring this windshield up. Get these tabbed in. There's a tab on the front that will go into a slot that you can't see over there. So compress those in, tab those in, which is easier said than done. Come on, there we go. Now you have the side of the truck, and you have a truck with legs. Tab these legs together, untab the hip assembly and shift it forward. Shove these in. They don't clip into place, but they do slide over top of those panels there. Unclip this whole roof assembly, bring it forward, and then this will shove underneath of the windshield, and you can see there's a little divot there. And then there's tabs on the inside that will just tab that into place. Give it a good squeeze, make sure everything is lined up correctly, and there you go. Truck mode is awesome. I think this is the only transformer that really turned into this mode. It's a truck with a snowplow. I don't think there's many transformers that do that, but this orange and blue combo is very, very nice, and I love the Elite Guard symbol on the hood. They picked out the headlights. These are a separate piece, which is very nice. He does have his pause play button looking things there. There is a bit of kibble underneath because none of this transforms. I wish there would have been something to cover up the head, or maybe had it compress in more, but you can't see it from the front or really any other angle unless you're looking directly from the bottom, so I don't mind. But you can see these headlights poking at certain angles, which looks a little ugly, but it does not impair the rolling, which is very smooth. I mean, I think this is the smoothest of any of my Transformers, rolling wise, which is very nice. He can store the weapons. You thread this lance through there, and then that clips in, and you can store it on this little plus thing in the back. And then it throws on there. Not the most elegant, but it'll do. I've seen a lot of Transformers animated figures integrate their weapons into their alternate modes, which I think would have been cool, but I don't really see a way to integrate a lance or a shield into this truck mode. So I don't mind. I mean, I have an entire bin full of accessories that I use, so it's not a big deal to me. Oh, and this plow can articulate. It can go left and right like a real snowplow, which is pretty cool. It can also go down, but not that much, because there's like 2 millimeters of clearance in between there. So it can articulate, although I would be careful with that, because I'm not sure if there's a stress mark on these grill tabs, and I'm not sure if that comes from moving that and it slightly bends it and stresses that, or if it's just over time clipping it and unclipping it stresses those tabs, but I would be careful with that. But it is there if you want to use it. Overall, it is a very, very good toy. I would highly recommend you find this if you're looking for an animated collection, or even just in general, because it is just a very well built toy. In terms of pricing, I wouldn't go anything over $50 for this. Maybe if it's in absolute pristine condition or mint in box, but I wouldn't do anything over 50. But yeah, that's been my look at Transformers animated Sentinel Prime. Follow me on Instagram at Rodimus Slime, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.